Just to remind everyone how we sit in our chair, our yoga asana or yogic seat. At the very front edge of your chair, find that long and lifted spine. I'm going to put you on mute so that you will be, I will be spotlighted here. Mute all. And I'll put myself in the spotlight. Okay, there we go. Hope you can all see me. If you need to come off of mute, you can do that. So your knees are going to be in line with your hips, your shoulders down and back, your heart nice and wide open. And just take a moment to lengthen through your spine and take a few slow, deep breaths just to land here. Just to land here in your steady and comfortable yogic seat, knowing that the breath is a way to, it's a portal into that inner sanctuary. In and out through the nose. Letting the exhale be a little bit longer than the inhale. And then let your eyes open with a soft gaze. And we're going to start with something called palming. I invite you to take your hands and rub your hands together. And if you're, in a moment, if you're wearing glasses, I'm going to ask you to take off your glasses and you'll see why. But for right now, just rub, rub, rub till you feel a little bit of heat between the palms of your hands. There are 2 chakra points, minor chakras, that are right in the palms of the hands. They're energy centers. And we're stimulating those energy centers right now as we rub the palms together. But we're also inviting a little heat on this cold day. As the arms begin to move, you might notice the breath deepen. You might notice the heart rate increasing a little bit. So we're building a little warmth. And in Sanskrit, there's a word called pratapana, which means building the sacred fire. So we're building the sacred fire. As we rub, 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 and you can really feel with friction that heat building in the palms of the hands. Rub, 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 get warmer, warmer, warmer. Let the breath deepen as you're beginning to feel that increased heart rate. And then take the hands, you've generated all this energy, you can probably feel all that tingling, and cup the palms over the eyes. You're not going to press on your eyeballs, but just letting the palms rest on the bony structure around the eyes, below the eyes and above the eyes, and let that heat radiate inward like the rays of the sun during this time when the days are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. We can still visualize that light radiating inward to the center of the head, which is actually the seat of the third eye chakra, your wisdom chakra. And let that warmth radiate inward. And as you breathe deeply in and out through the nose, let this moment be a moment of turning the attention to the inner landscape. That's known as pratyahara, turning the attention inward. Withdrawing the mind and senses from all of the outside stimulation, beginning to turn inward. And then as you remove the hands from the eyes, I invite you to take your fingertips and smooth out around the brow. And sometimes we don't even realize how much we're walking around with a furrowed brow. So just take a moment to smooth out around the forehead. Maybe run your fingers along the rim underneath the eyebrows, to the temples, making some circles around the temples. The face is a place where we carry so much tension, and it's so insidious the way it kind of builds up there. And Many of us clench, I know I do, I clench my jaw at night. And so you can take your hands and just rub the TMJ, temporomandibular joint, to invite the jaw to soften. Running the hands along underneath the jaw. Cheekbones. Just letting the facial muscles release and soften, all that holding. And then letting the hands rub, just massage with the fingers the top of the head. Wash that stress right out of your hair. Like that song, I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair. Remember that one? What do you need to wash out of your hair? You can even just let it go. Whatever's in your brain that's kind of going, just see if you can. And then let the hands rub, the thumbs rub the ridge along the base of the skull, the occipital ridge there. And down the back, the sides of the neck, the back of the neck. A little bit of energetic clearing out of the throat. Flick that off. Any stagnation there. And just feel all of the softening and the opening in the head, the face, the neck. And let your palms turn up to rest on your thighs. Once again, refreshing your posture, long spine, and let the eyes close. And bring your attention to that central channel of the spine, the Sushumna, the superhighway through which your life force flows. And remember that we spoke about the two channels that crisscross on either side of the spine, connected with the left and right hemispheres of the brain and the different polarities within us. And know that underneath your beautiful physical body, your skin, beautiful skin, your amazing bones, miraculous muscles, underneath that gross physical body, there is a subtle body that is a network of light and energy, a web of vibration that is always moving through you. See if you can notice any of that vibration, of that movement. Perhaps you can feel it tingling in your hands or in the face where you just brought some attention and energy. As you let the breath be long and slow and deep, see if you can sense that vibration or hum of the subtle body. As I offer you these words from an ancient yogic text called the Radiance Sutras. The roar of joy that set the worlds in motion is reverberating in your body and in the space between all bodies. Beloved, listen. Find that exuberant vibration rising new in every moment, humming in your secret places, resounding through the channels of delight. Know that you are flooded by it always. Float with the sound, melt with it into divine silence. The sacred power of space will carry you into the dancing, radiant emptiness that is the source of all. The ocean of sound is inviting you into its spacious embrace, calling you home. And let's honor that ocean of sound, that hum that is vibrating in throughout that energy body with the sound of Om. Take a deep breath in as the eyes open with a soft gaze. Lift the arms. Roll the arms open. Turn the palms up. Let the palms come together overhead. Exhale down the center line to the heart. And let's take a deep breath in. And those of you who wish to, join me in the sound of Om. Om. Release your hands. And I would like to begin to open the body from the top down. So, from here, I want to make sure that you all can see me. Refreshing your posture in your seat. Make sure you have your strap nearby, maybe having it over the back of your chair. We're going to invite by opening up through, opening up the neck. So shoulders back and down. Lift up through the crown of the head and let your right ear just sink down to your right shoulder, inviting a nice lengthening and stretch through the left side of the neck. And as you invite that ear to soften down, that right ear to soften down to right shoulder, and I'm being your mirror here, you may notice it takes a few breaths to let that open and let that soften, especially if it's a strong stretch on the left side. So let both shoulders draw down, and you can deepen this by extending your left fingertips long and away. And let any tension with each out breath just drizzle down the arm and out the fingertips. If you want to deepen this, you can take the right arm and wrap it around the head and just cup your left ear with your right hand. You're not pulling with your arm on the head. You're just allowing the weight of the arm to create a little more leverage for the stretch, if that feels good. If it doesn't feel good, just let your hand rest on your lap. And here's where you want to take the breath and send the breath to wherever you notice strong sensation. Breathe into that place, and with the exhale, visualize any of that tension or tightness releasing, perhaps floating down the arm and out the fingertips. One more deep breath. To let it go. Now take that that right hand, and bring it to the right cheek, and slowly invite the head to come up to center. That way you won't get a cramp from that deep stretch releasing. So just let your hand give yourself a little help. Notice the difference between one side and the other. Once again, shoulders down and back, heart open, lengthen up through the top of the head. And exhale, let the left ear just soften down to the left shoulder. Just notice where you're noticing the sensation. Maybe it's a little kink on the side here on the left side. Maybe it's a real strong stretch on the right side. You can let your right fingertips draw down and away at a diagonal. And with that exhale, little narrowing of the airways so your breath makes the ujjayi sound. Let the tension release down the arm, down the side of the neck, the shoulders, down through the arm and out the fingertips. If you want to cup your left hand to your right ear, wrapping the arm around the head without pulling, just letting that little extra weight invite a little deeper stretch. Breathe into it. And all the while, the only part of your spine that's bending is the side bend in the cervical spine and the neck. The rest of your spine is centered and lifted, rooting down through your tail and letting that long spine extend right up to the neck. And then it's just in the neck that there's that bend. One more long, slow, deep breath here. Send your breath where it's tight. Massage it with the long, deep breath. And then you can slide that left hand to the left cheek and invite the head to come up to center. Notice what's alive in you. Notice what's been freed up. And then you're going to interlace your fingers behind the ridge at the back of the head. So right here, not at the top of the head, but right at that occipital ridge. But rather than the elbows being out to the side, just let them relax so that the wrists kind of frame your ears. And invite the chin to drop down to the chest without going into slouchasana with the upper back. Keep the spine long, it's just the neck that's bending. So shoulders stay stacked over hips. And with each exhale, you're inviting the chin to release a little closer toward the chest, or really toward that kind of notch at the base of the throat. And notice how far down the upper back you feel that stretch. You might feel it between the shoulder blades. You're not pushing or pulling, you're just letting the weight of the arms invite a little deeper stretch. If it feels too intense, you can release the hands and just let the head hang down. Breathe into it, send the breath where it's tight. And let the sensation that you feel just be a reminder to appreciate that you are a sentient being. You are alive. And then slide the palms to the cheeks and invite the head to come up to center very slowly. See how you feel now. See if you notice any spaciousness, maybe a feeling of being a little taller or more open or light. I always feel a lot lighter after this. And take a moment to roll your shoulders one way. Those shoulders. I think last week we talked about that the word shoulder spelt like should-er. So if there's anything that you think you should be doing, just let that should go for right now. Try rolling the shoulders forward. Making any sighs or noises of letting go if you'd like. Exploring range of motion in your shoulders. Shoulders. And then once again, lengthening up through the crown of your head. Inhale, and then exhale elegantly. Turn to face your right. See if you can line up your chin with your shoulder without turning your waist. It's just the neck that's turning. Inhale to center and find your range of motion turning toward your left. Just the neck. Enjoying all the different beautiful ways it can move. Inhale to center, exhale other side. Keeping the heart forward, keeping the shoulders level with the front of your space. Inhale, center, exhale other side. One more each side. Inhaling to center, exhaling into that cervical spine twist. And inhaling back to center. And I invite you to take your strap, and we'll do some nice shoulder releases. I'm warmed up already, so I'm going to take off a layer. And then you want to take your strap and have it be a little wider than your shoulders, wide enough so that your strap can be nice and tight. And I'll fix my view to make sure that you can see my strap. That it can be nice and tight, but not so long that you can let your arm go all the way around, not yet. Just tight enough so that you can feel a little bit of resistance as you reach up and back. Without shrugging the shoulders, you want to keep the shoulders dropped down and knuckles pressing up to the sky. So long arms, but dropped shoulders, open heart. Reach back with a big breath in and just enjoy the stretch in the front of the chest. Upper arms, shoulders, try to draw the shoulder blades toward one another along the back body. And then exhale, keep the strap taut as you float the arms down. Let the strap touch your lap. The end of the exhale. Inhale, reach up and back, knuckles draw back behind you. Maybe you can get a little more range of motion here. Big expansive breath into the chest, and then exhale, float it down. And moving with breath, a few more of those at your own pace. And if you feel pain and it feels too restrictive with the length that you've got, you can lengthen the strap a little bit. You just don't want to be able to go all the way around yet. You want to feel a little bit of resistance there. Expand and just let that heart shine open. One more. And exhale, release. And just let the arms rest. Find some wiggles and waggles. And then you're going to take one arm straight up and one arm straight out, so you're making a 90-degree angle with your arms. Again, roll the shoulders down away from the ears on each side, up with one arm, out to the side with the other arm so the strap is nice and taut, and then draw it back. Maybe you can get a little more range of motion there. Big breath in, and then up, and then take it into a side stretch. You're going to need to use your core a little bit to stabilize yourself, so take it as deep into the side bend as you can comfortably go without losing your balance, and then up to center and float it down. Again, let the arms rest for a breath before we take it to the other side. You might feel a lot of warmth and heat and that vibration in your arms. Reach up and out, so find that 90-degree angle. Soften the shoulders. Make the strap nice and taut, and then with a big breath in, draw the knuckles back behind you so you can actually feel that stretch in the armpit in the upper arm, in the arm that's straight up to the sky. Big breath in, and then back to out and up, and take it into a little side bend to expand through the ribs on one side of the body. And back up and release. Take a roll one direction and a roll in the other direction. And then we're going to take it into that fun practice I call break on through to the other side, like Jim Morrison of The Doors sang, break on through to the other side. So it's nice to also bring into your awareness maybe some area of your life where you feel like there's an obstacle that you're trying to break through, some place where you've been stuck. And you want to enjoy the experience of breaking through that obstacle, not with brute force, but with relaxing into it, with a sense of ease and effortlessness. So let your strap be long enough. You might need to experiment to find that sweet spot where you can reach up and back and allow the shoulder to make its full rotation so that it comes back behind. Now you may need to be forward on your chair enough so that your strap, if you have long arms, your strap might catch on the chair. So if you prefer, you can do this standing, that sense of breaking through. Now if your strap is too long, it's going to be too easy peasy, and it's not going to really give you that stretch. So find the place where you feel the obstacle, but you get the satisfaction of being able to break on through to the other side. To just let yourself dissolve that obstacle, soften right into it, and then exhaling, coming forward. So inhale, reaching up and back, breaking through whatever that obstacle is. And exhale, back, down, forward. Do two more of those at your own pace. Whether you're standing or sitting in your chair. And then release. And take a moment to turn your palms up and just feel the roar of joy that set the worlds in motion, reverberating in your body. Feel it in your arms and shoulders. Just see if you can feel that buzz, what I call the prana buzz. And then eyes open with a soft gaze. We'll do one more upper arms and shoulder stretch. We'll take the eagle arms. Let the arms reach and rise. Reach through right fingers, reach through left fingers. Exhale and let your right elbow be underneath your left. Turn your palms up. Draw that left elbow a little bit past the right. And you're either going to have the backs of the hands touch, thumbs point toward you, or if you can wrap the wrists and let it would be your right fingers wrapping around, touching the left palm. This is always confusing to me to talk about because I'm doing it backwards to mirror you and we're all twisted up. So thumbs point toward you now, lift. Here's where you want to explore. Go for the juice here. Go for the place where you feel it going, oh yeah, I feel that stretch. So that might be lifting your elbows a little bit more. That might be finding a circle. Maybe it's drawing the wrists away from you and the elbows away from you. So you really get that spread behind the heart. And then drawing back in. Sending the breath where it's tight. And then exhaling, unraveling the arms, letting them float to the sky, reach through right, reach through left, and other elbow underneath. So you're going to rotate the arms open so the elbows point straight up. The top elbow comes a little past so that you don't want to end up with your arms crossed like this. You want to have one upper arm tucked inside the other elbow. And either backs of the hands touch, or maybe it'll be pinky hooks thumb, or maybe it'll be full wrapping of the wrist. Try not to crook your fingers, but think about that long line of energy moving through your arms, right up the fingertips, out the fingertips, and explore, just like you did on the other side. Circles, lifting and lowering, wrist out, elbows away from you, or drawing them in. And when you're ready to unwind your wings, slowly unwind. Big breath in, and then palms come together overhead, draw them back to the heart. Now we'll take that lovely heart-opening pose, the Yoga Mudra, which you can do using a strap. If your elbows don't want to straighten, use that strap. Other thing you can do is you can always do this standing, which gives you a little bit more range of motion to lift your hands, whether using strap or not. So whether you're seated in the chair on the very front of your chair, or whether you're doing this standing, I want to invite you to let the clasped hands draw the shoulders down, squeeze those wingtips of the shoulder blades toward the center, and just enjoy a few breaths of an expanded heart. And I'll share with you today another wonderful open heart quote for you to reflect upon. This is from Marianne Williamson. As you breathe out right into the center of your chest. We live in a self-organizing and self-correcting universe. For every problem, there is a potentially miraculous solution. A closed heart deflects the miracle, while an open heart brings it forth. In every moment, we make a choice between the heavenly awareness of our connection to all living things or the hell of the delusion that we are separate and alone. The mind will manufacture according to our choice. Whichever we choose, we will seem to experience. So in this moment of expanding your heart, what do you choose? And then I invite you, if it's comfortable, to take a forward fold. So if you're on your chair, you can let the belly come to the thighs, maybe taking a blanket in between, letting the hands reach up, letting the head hang down. If it's comfortable for you to do this standing, you can bend the knees generously, almost like you're coming into a chair pose squat, and let the belly fold over the legs, hands come up. And overhead toward the front of your space, head hangs down, if that's comfortable for you. Otherwise, you can stay upright for one more breath. And if you're in a forward fold, release the hands and let them hang down just beside your legs, and find some movements of the head. Your yes, your no, and your maybe. I like to make the infinity sign with my head for maybe. Infinite possibilities for this day. And then we're going to slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time, so you can press into your thighs and slowly invite one vertebra to stack on top of another, like you're building a tower with the bones in your spine. Keep the chin tucked till the very end. Shoulders draw back, chin lifts to level. And again, feel that cord of energy right through the crown of the head, lifting you to the sky. Open, expanded heart, feel all the aliveness. Let's take some cat-cow, seated cat-cow. Now, some of you, I'm going to invite you to do this standing if you prefer. So you all know how to do the seated cat-cow. Rocking forward and back like your sit bones are the blades of a rocking chair. Arching forward and back, dropping chin to the chest on the exhale as you squeeze out all the breath. So you can do that. If you want to try doing it standing, you would come to stand, feet about hip-width apart, into a gentle squat and bring your hands onto your thighs. As you do this, you're just going to find that pelvic tilt back, like you're tilting the tailbone back, shoulders back, arching the back one way, arching the other way, chin tucks to chest. On the exhale in the cat stretch, the nose comes toward the front of the pelvis. So you can take it standing like this in a gentle squat, or stay on your chair if that's more comfortable. Flowing with breath, cat, cow, spinal waves. Breathe and enjoy. And then coming back to center after this next round. We already did our side bend, but we haven't done a twist. So I'm going to invite you into a little more dynamic twist today. I'm going to invite you to place the hands, the fingertips on the shoulders, so the elbows are coming straight out to the side. And again, you're going to need to be right at the front end of your chair, so you have lots of room to move. So we're going to inhale center and exhale through the nose into a twist. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now you don't have to go super fast. We can actually, let's slow it down a little bit. Let's start slow, and those of you who want to pick it up can pick up the pace a little bit. So inhale, exhale. So what we want to try to do is level the shoulders with the, kind of with your thigh. So you're turning all the way so that your heart faces right. Inhale, exhale. But we're not going to hold this twist. This is just an opening, a loosening, a warming up. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And notice if your elbows are slumping down, and see if you can keep that aliveness by letting the elbows point out to the side. And notice how this is mostly an upper back twist. Middle and upper back is what's going to be twisting. And your lower back is pretty much staying steady here. You're centered on your sit bones. The standing version of this, you can keep going, would be empty coat sleeves, where you let the arms swing. Some of you have practiced that with me before, and if you're comfortable doing a standing warm-up twist, you can do that. And it also invites a more invigorating flow of prana as we use that increased rate of breathing practice. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And begin to slow it down. One more round each side. Release the arms. And we're going to take it right into a twist. So arms reach and rise. We're going to hold this twist this time to the right. So now you're going to take some leverage. Left hand to outside of right thigh. Right hand can come to back of your chair or seat of your chair to invite a little leverage. And notice how when we hold this twist for a few breaths, now we can invite the twist to move down a little more into the low back. But what you want to do is back off a little bit from the twist on the inhale to invite that long line right up through the top of the head. Invite length and space, and exhale into the twist. So now we get to hold and deepen a little bit. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, deepen into the twist. Looking over your shoulder on the right side. One more round. Back off from the depth of the twist to find length, and exhale, recommit to the twist. You feel the depth of the twist moving down the spine. Releasing here, inhale, arms reach and rise as you come back to face center, and then exhale to the other side. Some of you might even notice a little snap, crackle, pop as the vertebrae align. If that doesn't happen, that's okay, but if it does, it can often feel very pleasant. Notice if you're going into Scrunchasana in the shoulders and melt them down away from the ears. Elegant long spine on the inhale. Exhale, deepen into the twist, looking over your left shoulder. Shoulders soft away from the ears. Heart open. Leading with your heart, which I think is always a good practice for life in general. Lead with your heart and let your head follow. Lengthening on the inhale, deepening on the exhale, one more round. Hands lift, palms come together and return to the heart. When we bring the palms together, it's a moment to check in, notice what's alive in you, to return to present moment awareness. All right, let's come off of the chair and come to standing. I'm going to turn my chair this way just for your view. But come behind your chair. We're going to do a little dynamic flow with the warrior pose and the downward dog. I'm going to invite you to come into a flow of warrior one to the downward dog pose. And you can choose to do warrior one with the foot flat, the back foot flat. I'm going to just get a little better view for you here. Traditional version of this is back foot flat, toes turned out 45 degrees, hips squared. If that feels a little challenging for you to square the hips, you can come onto the ball of your foot, but that's a little more of a balance challenge. So you can decide what works for you. We're going to start standing in Tadasana, or mountain pose. Remember last week we talked about samastiti, equal balance on both feet. So see if you can find that equal balance, rooting the tail down and the crown lifting to the sky. If you feel steady and comfortable, you can let your arms rise like the sun. So you're going to take a sun breath, rising up, reaching through right fingers and left fingers, and turning your heart and your hands and your gaze upwards. This is like a modified sun salutation. So a little standing back bend, just slightly, looking up, saying yes to this moment, to this day, to your life. Big breath in. And then exhale, hands float down. You can place your hands on the chair as you step back with your right foot about a leg length to come into your steady, strong warrior one. Root down through the tail, lift up through the crown of the head. And if it's comfortable, you can let hands reach to the sky. Big breath in. Without shrugging shoulders, you want to soften the shoulders but lengthen up through those fingertips. Square the hips to the front. Feel the power of warrior. Big breath in. Exhale, float the hands down to gently grasp the chair as you step back into your downward facing dog. Step back far enough so that you can feel that long horizontal line through the back body. Soften the heart down. Spread the sit bones wide. Navel lifts in and up. Exhale. Slowly give a little bend in the knees to rise up and step the right foot forward. So the same foot that went back now comes forward. So now we come into that warrior pose on the other side. Squaring your hips, lifting through your core, shoulders down and back. Find your expression of warrior one today. What challenge lies before you that you can joyfully meet? Big breath in, and then exhale, hands float down, step up, and take a big breath in, palms come together, and hands return to the heart. And we'll take it now on the other side. Inhale, arms rise like the sun. Take a little standing back bend, heart, hands, gaze, look to the sky. Might just be that you're going to tilt your gaze up just a little bit. It might be you're going to arch back a little more deeply if you're comfortable pressing the hips forward a little bit toward your chair. Exhale, hands float down. Step back with left foot into your warrior one. And if you can either have opposite hand, one hand holding onto the chair, one hand straight up, opposite arm and leg, or you can let both hands reach to the sky. Big breath. This time, see if you can interlace your fingers behind you. If you've got your balance, open the heart. Big breath. Exhale, release, and step back into your downward facing dog. Now we'll step up with the left foot. So slowly rise up and step the left foot forward. You might need to adjust your stance a little bit. Turn your right toes out if you're doing the traditional version, or be on the ball of your foot. And hands, either both hands to the sky, or it would be right hand to the sky, left knee forward. Notice if you're leaning forward, and make sure that through the center line of your spine, it's a long vertical line. If it's available to you, you can do that open heart posture one more time. Big breath in, and then you can hold on to the chair as you step up. Arms reach and rise, palms come together, and back to the heart. I'd like to do that flow one more time because it's so invigorating and it's so good for us to do. So, coming into your mountain pose, hands return to the heart. Big breath in and release. Inhale, arms rise like the sun, arch back, heart, hands, gaze skyward. I have to fix my view here so you can see me, my whole body. Exhale, hands come to the chair, step back right foot, and your expression of warrior. Maybe this time you want to create a little challenge by interlacing your fingers so that you have pointer fingers right to the sky. Or maybe you want to take goddess warrior with goddess arms. Stepping back, exhale into your downward facing dog. Take another inhale and exhale here. And spread your sitting bones apart from one another. Enjoy the stretch in the backs of the legs. If you need to bend your knees a little, you can. And on the next inhale, step up into your warrior pose with your right foot forward. Take your expression of warrior just like you did on the other side. Maybe temple pose, maybe goddess pose. Feel the belly drawing in and up. So your core is strong and active here. Big breath in, and then hands come down to the chair as you step up. Arms reach and rise, and palms come together to the heart. One more time on the left. Inhale, arms rise like the sun. Take that standing back bend, heart, hands, gaze to the sky like you're saying yes. Exhale, hands come to the chair, step back left foot. Warrior one. It's fine to hold on with both hands if you're needing that. You can still assume the posture and attitude of warrior. Stepping back into your downward facing dog. Long spine. Feel that stretch through the whole back of the torso and the back of the legs. Inhale, step up, left foot into your warrior one, finding your expression. Exhale, hands come down to the chair, step up. Inhale, sun breath, rising sun, palms come together, hands to the heart. Pause and notice how you feel. Everybody still with me? You're still alive? Great. All right, let's take a little bit of balance play here. So I hope you enjoyed that flow, because it's really nice to begin to take the postures that you've been working with and put them together in an invigorating flow, so it becomes like a moving meditation. So that was kind of a little, it was a modification, a chair-based modification of the sun salutation, which is a lovely flow of postures and a meditation in motion. Right now I'm going to invite you to come to the side of your chair, and the sun is shining in, which changed the lighting of my space a little bit here, so I've kind of gone dark, but hopefully you can see me. Fingertip against the chair if you need it. Starting with Samastiti mountain pose, let's take the tree pose. So lifting the outside leg and placing it either inside the calf, inside the knee, you can use your other hand to help, or you can take a block and place it beside your standing leg and take a modified tree pose here. Sometimes we call this the sapling or the bush. You can make the sound of one hand clapping, or if it's available, both hands clapping. Branches to the sky. You want to root the tailbone down. Remember that you want to press firmly into the trunk of your tree. Really push your foot into the trunk wherever it is, not on the knee though, below the knee or into the thigh. Root the tailbone down. Let the heart expand so we don't round the shoulders forward. And fix your gaze into a spot on the floor a few feet in front of you. It's fine to have fingertips on the chair. You're still using your core strength, using your leg strength, and enjoying a hip opening practice here. When you're ready to release, slowly float that standing leg or that lifted leg down and shake out the standing leg. And then you can come to the other side of your chair and take your tree pose on this side, either with a block, or there's actually a really nice curve of the calf muscle right here that fits perfectly into the arch of the foot for most people. Knee straight out to the side, so notice if your knee wants to kind of turn inward. So you can feel an inner thigh stretch too. Lift, pubic bone comes forward a little bit, and you'll notice how that helps minimize the curve in the lumbar spine, which you want to do in this pose. So you want to be like really straight trunk of the tree. Either one hand clapping or both hands in prayer. Experiment with your expression of tree, with your arms, branches wide, letting go of leaves, maybe. Letting them float down. Notice if you're beginning to find tension in the forehead or the jaw or muscles around the eyes, and see if you can soften there. Steady, slow breathing in and out through the nose. And then when you're ready, releasing your tree pose and shake out that standing leg. And any wiggles and waggles that feel good here to land back in feet on the earth. And then I'm going to invite you to come into one more seated posture in the chair before we go down to our mat. And this one is a back bend. It's more of a deep heart opening and throat opening back bend. It's called the camel pose. In the traditional asana is done on the knees, hands and knees, and it's a very deep back bend and throat opener. But we're going to do a modified version in the chair. And I'm going to go sideways so that you can see. And what you may want to do here to protect your neck, and you can also choose not to put your neck back at all if you have any cervical spine degeneration or issues that cause pain there. You can keep your chin level, but I'm just going to demonstrate. If you take your blanket and fold it the long way, and then fold it again the long way, and then fold it again the long way, you've made like a long scarf or a stole. I just did a very sloppy version of it, but I'll give you a moment to take some time to fold your scarf, your blanket, if you need to. And then you can take the blanket and put it behind your neck, around your neck, and make it nice and snug to cross over your heart. If it's a thick blanket like mine is, then it gives you some neck support to put your head back. And only if this feels good for you, do it. Otherwise, you can keep your chin level. But that is a way to support yourself in the camel pose. So the other thing that you can use is you might find that a block is useful. These blocks might be a little bit too high, these 4-inch ones, so you might want to just use a book. But I'm going to demonstrate, and even if you don't have all the right setup and right props now, when you work with the video, you'll be able to do this. I'm going to start without the block. I'm lengthening up through my spine, sitting on the front of the chair, knees hip-width apart. And I'm going to bring my hands to frame my low back. Just starting here, fingers pointing down. And I'm going to draw my elbows toward one another. That's very important, that we just work on expanding the chest. I'm going to take my blanket off for a moment so you can see a little better. Just working on expanding through the chest. As my elbows draw straight back, you can feel that it expands through your chest, and you're going to lift your rib cage away from the pelvic bowl. So there's a lifting up and expanding through the chest. So you don't even need to let your head go back here. You just want to invite the shoulder blades to try to kiss one another. And that might be as far as you go. Inhaling to open, and maybe just lifting the chin a little, or keeping it level. Exhaling to release, and just come to seated straight up. Inhale to open. Exhale to release. And that might be just enough for you. It's also a wonderful warm-up just to do this much. Now, if you want to take it deeper, you'll start with the neutral spine, and then one hand comes down, maybe on fingertips or fists to your chair. The other hand comes down, and take it into arching. So the idea is you're squeezing the shoulder blades toward one another, expanding through the chest. And then if it's comfortable, lifting the chin, and this is where that blanket, mine got really sloppy here, the blanket roll will support you. Big breath in, arching back. You should feel a whole stretch right through the solar plexus, where the rib cage splits open, in the heart, and if you let your head go back, in the throat. And what you can do is take a deep breath in here, stick out your tongue and go, to clear out that throat chakra, that area that's responsible for our communication and self-expression. We often have blockages there. Words gone unsaid, things have gone unexpressed. Big breath in, exhale, stick out your tongue and go, clear it out. To come out, you want to place one hand on the low back on one side of the spine, another hand on the other side, and come back up slowly, letting the head come up last. And just pause and notice. The block would be if you found that you couldn't reach the chair easily. I find this block a little bit too thick, so sometimes for many of you it might just be a little book, like maybe an inch or so book that you need. So that's something you'll need to experiment with on your own. That was called Ustrasana, the camel pose. Wonderful expansion of the chest and throat and whole front body, and a nice back bend. Now we want to take a complementary pose, which is, we'll do a chair version of the rabbit pose. Hands come to your thighs, fingers pointing inward. Press into the thighs, the elbows can bend, let the chin come to the chest and round the back. Slowly press your middle and low back to the back of your chair as the chin comes to your chest and you press into the thighs. So now we're taking that opposite movement into the flexion of the spine. The camel pose was a deep back bend in one direction. That was your extension of your spine. Now we're going into flexion. As you exhale, draw the navel in and up. Really widen between the shoulder blades here. Press, press, press into the thighs. Spread behind the heart, upper back. Widen there. And then slowly press into the thighs to rise up. Come to neutral spine. All right, everyone. It's time to transition down onto the mat. So I'll give you a moment to do that. Onto your mat or folded blanket. Take your time. Going to come right onto your back. And once you find your way onto your back, make sure that your strap is nearby so that you can grab it if you need it. You may need it, so. Once you come onto your back, the first thing we can do is just give yourself a hug because you deserve it. So draw your thighs in toward your rib cage and either bring your hands to opposite elbows or just bring your hands to your shins and rock side to side. Little spinal massage there. And then settling onto your back in stillness, bring the hands to the knees and begin to circle the knees in opposite directions. So the legs open wide, and you draw the thighs into your ribs, inner thighs come together, knees come together, and then press the knees away and widen them. So as you do this, notice you're beginning to use your lower abdominal muscles a little bit as the knees draw away. And you're stirring the hip joint with the head of the thigh bone. So inviting some lubrication there because we'll do a little hip opener. Circle the other way. And once again, hug the thighs in. And clasp your hands around your shin on the right leg. Extend the left leg. I've got a little visitor here that's in my way. Let the body grow long. We're coming into wind relieving pose. And we'll take it into a little core strengthener. So as you hug that right thigh into the right rib cage and lengthen through the back of the neck, tuck your chin a little. You can then experiment with strengthening the core by lifting your left leg. Just let it hover above the mat. Point and flex your foot for a moment. And if it feels available to you, you can exhale chin to chest, peeling the head and shoulders off of the mat. Draw the chin toward the chest. Look toward your navel. You can draw your nose toward your pubic bone. Keep hugging that thigh in toward the ribs. And if you can stay in this position, you can even release the hands and turn the palms up in that pose of receiving the grace that's always pouring down. 3 deep breaths here, Ujjayi breath. Of course, if you need to release your head and shoulders down, you can do that. After your third breath, slowly float the head and shoulders down. Let your left leg release. And we'll take hand to toe pose. So take your either peace fingers to your big toe. Most of you are going to find that using your strap is going to be more helpful, and more available to you to find this stretch. So hook your strap around the instep of your foot. Let your right hand hold the strap close to your foot so your arm is long. So if your elbow is bent and your hand is way down toward your body, it's not going to give you that nice long line of energy through the arms. Sole of the foot to the sky, sacrum flat. Your left hand can come out to shoulder height, palm down, and see if you can open your leg nice and wide. If you'd rather do this by bending knee and having a reclining tree pose, you can take that. Otherwise, press your right heel out to the right, out through your sole of your foot and your heel, but keep the left buttock rooting down into the mat. So you don't want that hip to roll up. You want to keep your sacrum flat and your buttock down. That's where it's a little challenging here. Wide open through the hip, wide open through the heart. Feel that nice stretch in the inner thigh. Wonderful. Inhale that leg straight up to center. Switch hands with the strap. And we're going to let that foot come all the way down to the other side. Now you will roll your hip up, the right hip off of the mat here. And it's just the left hip that's touching the side of the left hip. You want to keep your foot in line with your hip, your leg straight out, perpendicular to the body. Soften the right shoulder down into the mat. Keep your arm at a T position. Right arm reaches out to the right, shoulder height. Turn and face your right hand. So now we're taking a nice spinal twist. If this twist feels a little too intense for you, you can release the strap and just bend the knee, bend your right knee. So now you get a nice, if you're doing the straight leg version of this, you get a nice stretch on the outside of the leg plus a full spinal twist. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, release. One more breath cycle. And draw that right leg up to center, bend the knee, release the strap, come into Shavasana for a moment just to notice the differences between one side and the other. I'm going to take that sequence on the other side, hugging left thigh in to the rib cage, clasp your hands around your left shin, press out through the right heel away from you so your body is nice and long. Tuck your chin a little, back of the neck lengthens. And then if it's available, lift your right leg off of the mat, let it hover over the mat about a foot. Point and flex your foot a few times. Just get the calf muscle activated, the ankle. And then holding that leg, extending, lifting off of the mat. Exhale, chin to chest. Roll the head and shoulders. The shoulder blades, the upper back stays off of the mat. Hugging that thigh in for another breath. And see, option here to release the hands, palms turn up, reaching fingertips away from you. Notice if your shoulders are shrugging and draw them away from the ears. Breathe and enjoy. Keep the muscles around the face soft. Keep that little Buddha smile. Little bit lifting the edges of the mouth toward the ears. Ah. When you're ready to release, float the head and shoulders back down, float that right leg back down, and we'll hook the strap around the sole of the foot and come into hand, what is traditionally called hand to toe pose. We'll call it hand to strap. Press up through the heel. Enjoy the lengthening in the back of the leg. It's on the exhale that you want to give it the little push. And then open out to the side. Nice and wide open hips. You're going to keep the right buttock rooting down into the mat. Keep the sacrum flat. Enjoy the stretch in the inner thigh. Try to keep your foot on the left side in line with your hips. Wide open heart. And then drawing that left foot up to center. Switch hands with the strap. And letting the left buttock roll off of the mat. Left hip rolls up. Come into a spinal twist, reaching your left foot straight out away from your body. That leg is perpendicular to the body unless you're taking a bent knee variation. Nice spinal twist here, softening the left shoulder down into the mat. You can turn your gaze to look at your left hand. Breathe and enjoy. And draw the left foot back up to center. Bend your knee, release the strap. Take a moment of Shavasana, corpse pose, just to integrate that sequence. Okay, beautiful. I want to take one more lovely hip opening and glute stretch pose before we go into a final relaxation. So let's take it into a figure four, hugging the right thigh in toward the belly. Bend the left knee, so you place your foot flat, and then turn the right knee out to the right, meeting just above right ankle to left thigh, to middle of left thigh. So your legs make that figure four. And then you're going to draw the left thigh up and in toward your belly. Let the right hand thread the needle through the space between your thighs. Clasp your hands either behind your left thigh or around your left shin. Some of you might find that you need to use a strap here if clasping the hands is difficult. And you can place the strap behind your thigh and on the left side and just grasp either side of the strap. Otherwise, thread that right hand through and invite that left thigh to come in toward the ribs as you press your right knee away. So you can actually use your elbow inside your right thigh to get a little leverage. You want to feel this in your right buttock and your right hip, and perhaps inner thigh as well on the right side. Let the backs of the shoulders and the back of the head rest comfortably and relaxed into the mat. This is called the supine pigeon or the figure four. If drawing that left thigh in is more intense than what your body is ready for today, you can just keep your left foot flat and just take your right hand and press that inner thigh away. And that'll give you at least a little bit of hip opener there. If you draw the left thigh in, that's going to really juice up the glute stretch. Press the right knee away from you and draw the left thigh in. One more breath here. Releasing, bringing both feet flat. Notice the difference between one side and the other. And then you're going to turn your right knee out to the side. Excuse me, I got that confused. Your left knee out to the side and meet above left ankle to the right thigh. Either stay here and just press the left thigh away, or draw your right thigh in and thread the needle, threading your left hand through the space between your thighs. Hug your left thigh in, I keep getting left and right confused. Hug your right thigh in toward your belly, clasping hands behind the thigh or around your shin. You're going to use your elbow on the left side to press the left thigh away. You draw your right thigh in. Go for the juice here. Remember in the 80s, Jane Fonda had those workout videos where she'd say, go for the burn? We're not going to go for the burn. We're going to go for the juice. The place where the sensation is strong and you feel that, oh yeah, I feel alive. I feel that stretch. But not to the point of pain. Not to the point where you tense up or grimace. Just to the point where you want to go, oh yeah. So breathe into that, oh yeah, place. Notice where you need to soften and relax, and where you can deepen. One more breath cycle. And then release and let it go, and let yourself melt into Shavasana. Find any final wiggles and waggles that feel good. Maybe you have a final twist that you'd like to take. It'll give you a moment to check in with your body. Maybe you want to take that happy baby pose for a moment before you settle into your final integration pose, the corpse pose, Shavasana. Let the backs of the hands soften into the mat, arms about 45 degrees from the body. You can take a little tuck of your shoulder blades toward one another so the heart stays open. Let the toes just naturally relax and turn out in opposite directions. Not forcing them, just letting them soften. No place where there needs to be any holding in the body. See if you can notice, perhaps in your fingertips, perhaps in your face, perhaps streaming through your limbs, that hum of vibration that is your essential aliveness. The roar of joy that set the worlds in motion is reverberating in your body. And the space between all bodies. Listen. Find that exuberant vibration rising new in every moment, humming in your secret places, resounding through the channels of delight. And know that you are flooded with it always. That is prana, streaming through you. And let it carry you into the dancing, radiant emptiness that is the source of all. Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. This chant means praise, victory, glory to the divinity that we are. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Slowly begin to deepen your breath and bring some movement into your fingers and into your toes, ankles and wrists. Circle. Find some movement of the head, a little bit of movement of the head side to side. Bring your awareness back into your body. Enjoy being in your body. You can hug your thighs in toward your chest into another embrace. Wrap your arms around your legs. And slowly let yourself roll over onto one side. Taking a moment there to pause before very slowly pressing yourself up to your seat. You can either sit on your mat if it's comfortable or come up to your chair. Take your time. And as you come back into your yogic seat, I invite you to notice the transformational power of this practice. Notice how you feel. See if you can sense that hum of prana. That hum is called the pranava. That roar of joy that set the worlds in motion, that's always reverberating through you. That happens in the macrocosm as the spinning of the spheres in the heavens, and in the microcosm in the vibration of your atoms and electrons within you. And somewhere between those two poles of the vastness and the infinitesimally small, our consciousness lives. And here we are in this body, ready to take that aliveness into the world. Bring your hands into prayer position at the heart, and let's honor that hum the roar of joy with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Om. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoyed today's practice. Lovely to see you. If you want to come off mute and say hi, I'll stop the recording.
Thank you, Jyoti. That was a little